Hello and welcome back to the stream. This mouthpiece is not going to work for me. I just got this back from a student. This is straight 8 from the old New York Bach a Bach New York straight 8, very old, big number. I actually really prefer this straight 7, which I can demonstrate a little bit for you. I'm playing Glazanov's album leaf, and it's because I have it coming up on one of my students' recitals. We're going to trade off because this is very difficult to get all the way through by yourself. And but I have a special. Well, if you're clicking on this video later, you've already seen the title. I have a special new cornet that I want to show you. But first, I thought I'd show you my original. This is an instrument that I have played a lot on the channel. And it is a French Besson that is probably around, let's see, the serial number is in the 88,000s. And so I believe that puts it kind of late in the second decade of the 1900s. So maybe 1915 or 1918 or something like that. But I have a cornet that is kind of nearby. And so we'll take a look at that. And I want to show you that on this piece because it plays in a lot of keys. And so some of them are very good. Sorry for my fingering mistakes, but that totally changes this instrument, right? And now I'll show you. Well, okay, so that's a straight 7. This is a different. This is a Vincent Bach Corp New York 7 with just in silver plate, probably around the same year as the one I just played. So almost the same sound, a little bit different. I have a little more control on this, and that's probably because it's silver plated. Silver plating has a little more grip. It's a little less slippery than gold, and so it allows me to hold my lip in the same position and roll it for better color change. We won't get into exactly all of that today because we've done that in previous times. And this is my normal mouthpiece that I always play. It's a modern mouthpiece, so it has slightly less lead in the brass than the older, heavier leaden mouthpieces do. Their brass was just different 100 years ago, and well, it should be, right? Yeah. So let's hear this horn one more time with my modern setup. This is what I'm sort of used to. So there you go. That's my French Besson trumpet. And this one, it has a lot on the bell. It gives you all the awards and everything. Now, that was in C, of course. And, well, we're going to try. I have an old straight 8 from this is really early Bach, but it has a screw rim. And I'm not sure if that was done later or if it was done, at Bach. or what. It looks like it was done at Bach, but they didn't really do things like screw rims as much back when this was made in probably the 30s or 40s. And when I bought it, it said it was older than that, but there's no way that it could be. So anyway, but this is a straight 8 mouthpiece that happens to have a screw rim, and it has a trumpet counterpart. Oh, I should have, well, maybe it is out actually. No, I guess not. Oh, it's right here. Okay, so actually, I can play this exact same mouthpiece. So let's do that really quickly. My dad is texting me. I'm surprised he's not watching the stream. He must be busy. Let's see. Well, I can't see what he said. But yeah, this screw rim came with 2 underparts, one for trumpet and one for cornet. And so let's play that one more time, and I'll play it on the French Besson on C with exactly the same mouthpiece, or at least as close as you can make a trumpet and a cornet mouthpiece together. And then we'll be able to compare and contrast the trumpet to the other cornet, which I still haven't shown you. Oh, it says, he's going to send me a piece in G because the cornet plays in G. Okay, well, we'll leave that alone for now. And here we go. Oh, excuse me. So I have to sort of trick this out and make it a little more in tune, at least for the piece you're playing. That's the only problem with these old horns, is they generally didn't have a finger trigger on the first valve, and so you have to do everything with either your lip or just the length of the horn and it stays there, or it has to have a third valve in it. And that's going to be very true on the cornet. Unfortunately, this cornet, let's get to it. Rather than me just talk and talk and talk, right? You guys want to see this thing. So here it is, and let me see if I can get it in frame in the box, because it's so cool. Let's see, I'll put you guys, I don't know how to do this. Let's see. Did I get it? Yeah, you can see it now. So okay, so it came in this box. This is what we call sometimes a coffin case, because it looks like, you know, you'd bury somebody in it. It's broken. The latches here and here are broken. They're actually down in here. So in case I want to use, if I want to get somebody to remake this case, I've got the original hardware, which is pretty nice. But look at this thing. Look at it. I'm going to let this fall behind just because it's a little safer that way. But look at this thing. Okay, so what do we got in here? Well, we've got, first of all, the cornet here, right? And it's got a totally different bell. I thought for sure that this instrument would be almost a copy of the trumpet, and that's what's so fascinating here. So, but we've got a pigtail. That's what we call that. We've got there's a split in this slide, actually in the same spot as in my C trumpet. So that might be a problem in their design. But this is to put it down lower. So this is just a tuning slide extension. Here's the slightly bigger tuning slide. Here's the slightly bigger second valve slide. And look how nicely they still all fit, even though this box is kind of torn up a little bit. Everything goes where it goes. I don't know what goes in here. Maybe just valve oil and stuff, because it's very deep. Or maybe I'm missing a part. But this was probably not original. You can tell it might have been made at a different time because something was lost. But this is the low pitch lead pipe. This is the regular high pitch lead pipe. This one actually says SI on it, which means B, and it says 047 on the other side. So this is an original one, which is really great. Then this, I think this was made as well. You can see this is sort of a long bit. We call these bits. That's the long bit, and then there's a short bit. And the short bit is generally what you have to use to get the mouthpiece to fit in it. Oh, and this is a mouthpiece hole. which you can see. Let me see if I can get a, yeah, there you go, mouthpiece hole, right? So, or at least I think it is. That's what it looks like it was used for. But yeah, you need one of the bits. Well, this bit looks like it was actually only made to fit inside the pigtail, and that's it. So, but to get it all the way down to low G, you have to put it in a really silly configuration. So I'm going to put this over to the side and use it a little bit, just right here, okay? But I'm going to bring you guys back up to me. Let's see if that works. That's pretty close. Make sure we get all of Kentucky and Tennessee back here. And if I play, let's see. No, you can't see the horn. This time we want to see the horn more than Kentucky and Tennessee, I think. So if I just hold it up really good, that might work. We'll put it down a little bit more. Okay, so let's check this horn out. Now, I just got it actually really cheap from Dylan, and it is in sort of rough shape. You can see it's got a lot of hand wear, right? It's a little hard to see in my lighting here because my walls are beige, and so it makes brass wear look just like silver. And so maybe I should take pictures of all my horns in here. But yeah, it's got a lot of wear along the, get it in the focal area, right? This is all hand wear, but that actually is good in a certain way, and let me explain that. When you, if you've never looked into antique horns and things like that, it can be really lucrative. First of all, if you have a little bit of repair skill. I don't have enough to really make any money doing this, but if you have a little bit of repair skill and you really are careful about it, then you can do some repair. You can send some things to get re-silver plated and really restore some old instruments back to their sort of original glory. And that's important to do, but it's also highly lucrative. Like I said, if you can, I don't remember what I spent exactly, but this was only around $500, and that's really a steal for this instrument. But it's in pretty rough shape, right? So I will have some repairs done to it, I think. In particular, the valves are very leaky, and so that makes the high range like sort of fuzzy and sometimes way too high, and the low range is really logy, also fuzzy, and so the middle range is pretty good. But if you put heavy valve oil on it, you can play it for a little while. So I've done that earlier today. I might have to redo it. And yeah, the valves you can feel that they need to be redone. The corks are kind of in funny places. So that's why it was a cheaper instrument, because it hadn't had anything done. But you don't want somebody to just go ahead and do the repairs for you, right? Because maybe some of this stuff I don't want repaired. Anyway, why was I saying that the handwear is good? Well, because that meant somebody used it. And if somebody used it, it's probably a pretty good instrument, right? So, and that's what I saw on the website, and I said, oh, well, for that price and for that horn, it was only advertised, I think, as just a regular cornet, a French Besson cornet. Didn't say anything about being in 6 keys, and so I just happened to get lucky, really. I don't think there was even a picture of all the slides. There might have been, but anyway, okay, so let's play this thing. So if you don't know about antique cornets, I'll do a whole show on all my instruments at some point. Actually, I'll go to my dad's house and do a real live stream of all those instruments. That'll be really fun. But so what the way they used to design these is they have this is the cornet, right? And you need a lead pipe. It doesn't just come with one, so to speak. You got to put something in there, right? So here's our lead pipe, and that's so that it could play in multiple keys really easily, but also because this part would rot out if you didn't clean it, and so you could just get a new one, or at least that's one, theory. It's also just a better design. You don't have to solder this, and if something happens to it, you can replace it, even if it's not just dirt or whatever buildup. Now this is the pipe that says SI, as in B natural. It doesn't say C flat, although it does have an errant strike on it that might mean SI flat. And so I'm going to switch between saying C flat and B flat, as in, but they're the same thing. One is in Italian, which is what we all used. It's what we use in solfege, right? And the other is, of course, just modern English, B flat, right? But anyway, so this happens to play well in C, in literal C, not S-I-C, but C. And I just noticed there's some interesting wear on the bottom valve caps from where somebody kept their hand there. It's out around. That's really cool. So yeah, this was played a lot. This horn was played a lot by somebody. Okay, so let's get the mouthpiece that we were using before, right? This straight 8 New York Bach with the screw rim, right? Take it off of this one, right? So this is the same rim, and these mouthpieces were made together as a set. So this is the same straight 8, but now, sorry about that, with the rim put on it instead. And now you'll see, good puns. It's a little sharp, actually. It's because I don't have the bit in. Okay, so right. So I just put you can just put the cornet a mouthpiece right into the lead pipe, and sometimes that's the best playing. And as a matter of fact, I think this plays pretty well that way. But we have 2 bits. Well, we have the long bit, right, which doesn't really seem to fit in there, and that's because I think it's just made for the pigtail, which has a different opening. But there's a little tiny, you can see how small that is, right? It's just this little tiny bit, and you might say, well, Gabriel, why would you need that? If it fits here, how much different could that be? Well, it's not so much that this is the difference. Well, first of all, a normal trumpet would have a receiver here, right? Where it receives the mouthpiece, and then there's a little venturi of the lead pipe and a gap between, right? Well, we don't have that on a cornet. Every pipe fits into every other pipe. So this sort of simulates a receiver because it doesn't have a gap, but it sort of compresses the air and then lets it back open again, and then it happens again here, right? So we sort of, at least it looks like a receiver, and it kind of functions like one, even though the physics are probably entirely different. But also, watch this. Now, look how far in this mouthpiece goes. I'm covering it up with my hand. Look how far in this mouthpiece goes into this pipe, right? That's because it's not supposed to go in there, right? That's the normal depth, though, for a modern cornet. That's where the marking is actually on this mouthpiece. But look at this. Put this in. Well, that's like a half a centimeter more. Or sorry, less that it goes in, right? And so then we add that to the approximately half centimeter here, and all of a sudden, I've added like 20 cents to this horn, right? 20 cents down. See? Okay, so now, you can already notice the difference, but, you've heard this horn before, and you could go back, but I'm going to play my modern straight 8 on the C trumpet, just so that I don't have to switch this rim out. Okay, but let's hear some album leaf on C cornet. Oops, I forgot that I'm not, the slides are not in C. You know what, I forgot that the slides are not in C, and I think I am going to stop saying SI, C flat. I'll say B flat, but we'll look at the slides together. The slides are, actually, I'll just take one out right now. I don't know that I have a way to show this to you really well, but let's see if we can see it together. Let's see if this one is even. I know that it has it on there. Oh, there it is. So in this time period, if you had an instrument in multiple keys, if it was if it was an expensive item, right? Which this cornet was definitely like a higher tier model, then you would see that it says on there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I'm going to try my best to get it in focus. Nope, that's the wrong way. There's kind of the right way. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this, but on here there's these little bands, right? And on the band it says SI, SI flat, LA, La flat, and Sol. Now, that's really amazing because And it's all these little bands that they cut into the slide, and then they also stamped the letters on there, right? So that means this instrument plays in probably C is all the way in, B natural is pulled out to that SI spot, right? B flat, A flat, and G. Incredible, right? And that is not, it's not the norm for horns to play in that many keys. And you'll see, partially you'll see why, but actually this horn is quite successful. I think with a valve job, with the valves replated, this instrument is going to be a killer. So I can't wait to get that work done. I don't know who's going to do it. I'd like to not ship it if possible, because it barely got here. Dylan is amazing at shipping, and if he hadn't packaged it the way it was, I mean, that box was absolutely, it was falling apart when the guy got here. So it went through hell getting here, and that's always a risk. I mean, people like Dylan and Josh Landris and Steve Winans and all those guys, they know how to package horns. And the way to do it is you wrap it all in bubble wrap, you put it in a bag, you wrap it all in bubble wrap, you tape the bubble wrap so that it's like this big bubbly thing, then you sink that in a bunch of packing peanuts. And that way the packing peanuts take the brunt of the blow, right? But even if there is some concussion, it's in a bubble. And if he hadn't packaged it that way, then this horn would have been destroyed. Because, I mean, there were holes in the box that was leaking out packing peanuts and all kinds of stuff. So I'm really grateful for that. But I'd rather not try to do that myself. I have all the stuff in case I need to ship it. But anyway, so that's in C right now, right? And now what we can put it in any key we want, all the way down to G. So let's try B flat, right? Because we know that's a key we're probably going to play a lot in, right? And so I got to find the names again. Oh, did I put this in? Yep, I put it in backwards. It doesn't like to be put in backwards. After all these years, if you put one of these slides in upside down, even if it would have fit once, it doesn't fit anymore. So let's put it, well, we can try B natural. I haven't tried that on this horn yet. So how would I put it into B natural? That's the question. It might be missing a mouth pipe, but I don't think, it doesn't have a spot for it is the problem. Unless oh, well, you know what? It would have been the other bit. So let's try, maybe that bit will fit. If the bit does not fit, you must acquit. No, see, it doesn't, that's not going to work. So we're going to have to use this. This is the shortest, and it does say SI on this one, right? So we should be able to play in B natural. This is the shortest one of these I have. Well, let's see what happens. Maybe I just, oh, I know what I do. I'm not trying to shorten it, I'm trying to lengthen it. So I bet that's B natural. Just the difference, you can see the difference between, the difference between these two slides is just a little bit of tubing, right? So if I put this one back, put this one in, that still sounds fine. And oh, well, we'll just take the B flat. Well, no, this one says SI though. Maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe that is a flat on there. This will definitely put it in B, and then we'll move on to the next one. Oh, okay, close. Have to put the bit in, right? Okay, so now do I want to play Album Leaf down a half step? I mean, I guess I could try. We'll see what it sounds like. Here we go. It's almost too easy. I can't, like, my brain can't do it because it's double sharps and sharpen the key signature, but then I'm taking away a sharp all the time. So That's actually okay. It doesn't play very in tune, but I'm not surprised by that. It's hard for it to play in tune in all the keys. Oh, this one was still in C flat. Well, SI flat, that is. Let's try a little more. I'll try the beginning. Well, the beginning's in a terrible key. I'll try a different spot. Yeah, I don't know. It's really badly out of tune. Maybe I don't have the configuration right, or maybe I'm missing a tuning slide or something. But we'll never know. So on to the next key, right? So and this is always tricky. So the easiest thing to do is just take it all apart, right? And then figure out how you're going to get it to the next key. So that was B natural. So B flat. Well, that shouldn't be too bad. I'm going to put this in, right, and the bit. But I'm going to take this long pipe out because I'm going to switch back to the short pipe, but with the extension, right? So the extension goes on first. Let's see if I can get it on there. Then we got this pipe here. And that might play in B flat all right, because we definitely can pull the slides out to B flat. And like I said, I'm so excited that this has these keys written right on the thing. And then we put our mouthpiece in and we see what note we get. Ah, B flat, excellent. Okay, now I can play some album leaf. Here we go. Isn't that beautiful? That's just a lovely sound. And I mean, I still think it sounds great in C, right? If I just take this all back off and I keep this short pipe, right? Oh, I played that all. No, maybe I didn't. Right, that's C. Doesn't sound much different. Watch this. There's a little difference in the sound, but not by a lot. It definitely plays better sound-wise in B flat. But now watch. If I go back to this horn, this is the trumpet in C, right? I mean, that's a totally different instrument. And now you can see why in the Paris Conservatory in the early part of the late part of the 1800s, early part of the 1900s, they didn't have, you didn't major in trumpet and cornet. You just did one or the other. And you can see why. I mean, this is like an entirely different instrument, right? And you can see why people really preferred one over the other. The strident tone that people talk about the trumpet having was real. And the cornet was much mellower. It had a much chestier sort of baritone voice compared to the very brittle, shrill trumpet sound, which we sort of prefer now because we're used to it, right? But the old instruments just had really a totally different color to them. So what I'll do in the future is I'll pick two solos that were on the same year, that were the trumpet solo and the cornet solo from the Paris Conservatory. contest solos that year, and I'll learn them both on these two instruments, and you can hear how different they were. But for now, we're going to stick with album leaf, and we're going to stick with the cornet. So we've now heard the difference between the cornet and the trumpet of the same make, nearly the same year. This cornet, the serial number on this, what is it? This says it's only 11,000. So this is probably much earlier, but I have to look up. I believe that trumpets and the cornets have different serial numbers. And this is also a different model, right? This is, yeah, this is just a regular French Besson brevet Paris with a star. And the other one is, let me see if I can see it. This one is a brevet with a star, but it has all the extras on it. And this one actually says, oh, well, it always says System Prototype. But anyway, so they're definitely from slightly different decades. But anyway, so moving on. Okay, so we had this thing in B flat. Now let's see if we can put it in A. I don't know if I know how to do this yet. So my first guess, this is probably, if we think about these pipes, right? This one is probably the lower. This is a half step longer than this one, and you can see it's just missing those pipes there. So I'll probably use the extension, right? Get it on there. I don't want to manhandle it too much because the pipes are a little bit fragile. Okay, and then we'll probably use the long tuning slide, right? So now it looks like that. It's going to get crazy here in a second anyway, right? And then we're probably going to use, this one said SI, right? So B natural. And so we'll probably leave that one, get out the long pipe as well, right? Which we sometimes call the A pipe. And then use the bit as well. And then we need a mouthpiece. And here we are. So let's see what pitch we get. I have a tuner right here, that's why. Almost there. Is there anything else I can do? Not really. I can pull the tuning slide a little bit, but generally speaking, you don't really usually need to do that to get it in tune. Is there anything else in here that I could use? Well, we could see if the long bit fits. It won't fit in there, I don't think. Let's see. It does actually, a little bit. It barely fits in there. So we'll try that. That'll give us a little extra length. And we can put those bits together. So let's see now. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So now let me see if I can play album leaf in the key of A. So let's see, that's up a half step. Oof, okay. I didn't pull the slides. So if I took the time to learn this, the passage that sucks in this piece, because it's in the key of B natural, for B flat trumpet, well, that's key of C. And so if I could figure out how to play E sharp written. The trick is to not look at it. It's really, let me try it again and not look at it. Yeah, you can sort of figure it out if I just play by ear, which is what I tell all my students to do all the time. So it takes all of the bits to make that happen, but it's actually not too bad. But it gets better than that. So now let's go down to, I'll pull the slides first so I don't forget this time. Where's the marking now? I don't see the marking. Sometimes they get lost in the slide grease, or sometimes they don't exist at all, huh? Well, usually the LA of law flat is written right on the line, so you can just go, if there's no line anymore, it got scratched off, but the stamped LA should still be good. And now we have to do something else, because this is not, we don't have any more length here. So we'll disassemble it all again, right? Here goes the bits. Here goes the long bit. So we do need that long bit for something else. I was wrong about that. But now we get the pigtail. Now it's getting fancy, right? Now the pigtails usually don't play very well compared to the straight pipes. And I bet you anything I have to switch back to the short pipe to do this, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays. It's not that different, but you'd be surprised. Well, maybe you wouldn't by now. Try to get that in there without jamming it up. Okay, so yeah, so there we go, right? And now I need a bit, and I just noticed earlier that so this is a different sized opening than any of the others, and I think there's a bit missing, and that's probably why this one was made, even though we just needed it to play an A, and so maybe they had it purpose built to do both of those things, or maybe the original one does that, right? But look how easily and perfectly this fits in there. Doesn't even really roll around too much. So it could be bottoming out. I mean, it almost definitely is bottoming out, actually, right? Where it starts to turn. But it makes this interface really, really tight, and that's a good thing. And then we're going to put our regular bit back in, and then we're going to put our Cornet mouthpiece in there, right? And we'll see what note we get. It's pretty close, but I think maybe I don't need the short pipe after all. I've got to find a way to hold this thing. It's a little hard to do this not on a table, you know? I don't know if I like it any better that way. Let's try it without the smallest bit. So this just takes a lot of experimentation. Plays a lot better. Okay, I'm going to try this. And now I'll play the beginning of... The reason I chose Album Leaf, besides that I need to work on it, is obviously this doesn't really count as working on it since I'm playing it in all different keys just to play the right notes. But it's because it's in the key of, let's see, D flat concert and the key of A concert. And those are not fun keys to play in the first place. But if you have a multiple keyed instrument, then it's going to improve one or the other of those two keys. So. I like it as much. Oh. I forgot to switch out the second valve. That's why I was like, it wasn't this out of tune earlier. And the bit, see, defocuses the high B flat on the A flat trumpet. So I can't play that A flat written G flat concert unless, well, not well, unless I take the bit out. So you just have to experiment until you find something. But anyway, now we should have, I was wondering why the A's were so bad. And well, now I know. It's because I didn't switch that out. Let's see if it's better now. So I might need the bit just to keep the pitch down. I don't know. It's hard to tell. And actually the second valve has all the markings on it as well. So at some point this was probably the only second valve. Or maybe this second valve is really only to go down to G, right? If I put this in just, let's see, it's got C, B, B flat, A, and A flat. Yeah, that's what it is actually. So maybe it plays better this way too. Let's find out. So it's just barely in there, kind of, but let's see what it does. I like this A flat. I've always said that an A flat trumpet would be a really useful thing, and now I have, well, a cornet, but now I have one. So now I'm going to prove it. Hear how vocal the quality is of that instrument? I mean, it's really a totally different animal. All right, so but we've got one more key, and everybody wants to hear that, and that is low G, right? Sol. So I'm going to pull the slides again first because I don't want to mess that up again. I keep doing it. It's just not something you think about with modern horns because they don't play in multiple keys, so you don't have to pull their slides out, or they have slides that you pull out all the time, like while you play, right? So that was, yeah, that actually played way better with this. This era of instrument making is really dependent sometimes on those little things. If you don't put the parts together right, then you just, you can't play the instrument. So, and sometimes you can improve it with modern things, but a lot of times you just have to, I think I still keep that. Let's see if I can figure this out again. I figured it out earlier today. It's the long pipe here, I think. I have a picture of it on my phone if I need it, but I couldn't get it down. I was just struggling to get it all the way down to low G. This is the small tuning slide. So I think this monstrosity is the right thing, and we've already pulled the slides. So the low range is just that it needs a valve job, and it may always be that way because it's hard to design something in 6 keys, right? But this is it, right? This is the the only way to get it all the way down there is to put this together in this way. And so I don't know. Let's play the sharp key. Now what do I have to do? So it's a B flat part. Oh boy, this is going to be a tough transposition to work out. My phone is ringing even though I told it not to. Stop. Yeah, good. Well, let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can find a G. Oh, okay, so I transpose up a fourth. That shouldn't be too bad, actually. Up a fourth, okay. Wait, that can't be right. It's a B flat part, so if I see a C, I play a B flat concert. No, I'm making it too complicated. What's the difference between B flat and G? It's a sixth. So I have to transpose up a sixth. Right? A major sixth? Is that right? Boy, this one's, I don't know why this one's giving me, okay. If it was a C trumpet part and I saw a G, I'd play a C. That would be up a fourth. That's a C trumpet part. So I need to play up a fifth. That's what it is. But that doesn't make any sense either. Okay, well, let's just do it the good old-fashioned way. If I want to play this note, which is a G concert, right? That's going to be, that's a C. Yeah. So from a C trumpet part, I transpose up a fourth. I think I'm doing this right. I just don't know why I can't think it through the normal way. Oh boy. Can't do it. It's too hard. But I'll just play around on this horn a little bit. Oh boy, I'm having trouble keeping the pitch up too. Might have, well, maybe if I, again, what if I use, I'm sure this won't work, but we'll try it anyway. Oh, this won't fit in there, will it? No, it does. Okay. It's all pretty rickety at that point. But okay, let's try it. So pretty interesting, right? If I can get it configured right, and we just sort of guessed some things today, then it plays pretty well in the key of G. It's actually one of the better keys for this instrument once you get it going. So my inability to transpose a B flat trumpet part that's in 5 sharps, notwithstanding, it would be really useful in a lot of situations. And well, you might think, well, when would I ever use a G trumpet? Well, I mean, lots of times, really. You would be able to play Carmen, for instance, right? All of the notes to the prelude of Carmen. And it would sound really, really interesting. I wonder if I can figure out how to do that. This is probably a bad idea, but I've done worse on the stream. Now, I almost don't want to lay this down because I'm afraid it'll fall apart on me. But I'll try to kind of jam it together. Make sure. Man, that would be really bad. Okay. The first note is a C, right? Yeah. No, that's not right. I'm gonna have to look it up. Well, maybe that's a different stream. I just wanted you to see this cool instrument and hear it in all of its keys. And what I'll do is to finish up the stream. So this is it in G. Oh, excuse me. And while I talk, I'm going to put it back in C. Okay. And I think I can do this pretty quickly. We'll just, again, you just take everything apart, put it back where it belongs, and then you put it all back together the way you want. But I'll put it, so try to remember that sound of it being in C, right? I'll take this out. And then I will, or sorry, of it being in G. And now I'll play it in C, and then I'll go all the way back to the trumpet, and you can hear how different those sounds are. Oh, I know how I played it before. Well, that's a different video. You can also change the mouthpiece to try to get some more focus. This straight 8 is pretty deep. All right, so I believe this should be in C now. Oh, almost forgot the valves. Look how much travel that is, right? And that means I have to switch the second valve out. Okay. So let's make sure this is on the right side. I don't know if I know which side it goes on right now. Okay. Excuse me. Oh. Gotta have the bit. All right. Now, this mouthpiece has a little spot on it that... There's C. See if I can find that spot and avoid it. All right. So, I don't know how different that sounds to you if you're watching on your phone or something, but to me, in the room, there's a totally different quality to the sound. And like I said earlier on, these instruments are really strikingly different to me, not necessarily playing-wise, although that too, I guess, but not more than the trumpet itself is different, right? But this is a French Besson not with a French bead, though. This has a normal bead on the bell, which is not uncommon for earlier instruments, right? So, but this is not an earlier instrument. That's the earlier instrument. And so I was surprised to find that in the first place, but actually all of it is different. What is not different, what I was learning, I was looking at this earlier, is the construction of the braces, right? The brace here, you can see this has this kind of knurl here and here, and this brace is constructed identically, right? With the knurls in the same place, in the same fashion. And they have the same feet to the brace as well. Not on this tuning slide because it has fancy feet, but elsewhere they are identical. So I think that's rather interesting that some parts seem to have been exactly the same and other parts appear to be completely different. But they also are, I thought that they were much closer together when I read the serial number, but I was mistaken. So I have to look them up again. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration of a 6-key cornet. I don't know that, I have to look up the model. I just got it in the mail today, and I thought, well, I'm just going to do my live stream right now because I can't not play this instrument. And by the time, if I just play it for 3 hours, well, then I'm going to be, I won't be able to play for the live stream at 3. So I'm actually ending when I normally start, but I also skipped a couple weeks, so who knows what I'm doing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will try to put together a little program that demonstrates this instrument, and I also need to find, I think I'll send both of these off together, actually, to the same person so that the same work gets done on them. The trumpet needs its bell rebent a little bit. I don't know if I'll do that or not because I don't want to mess it up, but I think it will help it. And then it needs some cracks fixed or replaced or something. and or at least patched. I don't want to, again, I don't want to add too much weight to that instrument because it'll change the way it plays, but it needs a little bit of work, and I think they could both use a valve job, although the trumpet plays quite well already, but this definitely needs a valve job, and I might need to get some different bits made, and so that's what we have to do is figure all that out first, right? I'll use the bits from the other cornets that I have to see if some other stuff works well. And if I already own it, then great. I just have to remember that it goes with a different trumpet, but I can use it with this one, or cornet rather. But yeah, once I know what needs to happen with this instrument, then I can send it off to the right person, and maybe I'll send it to Dr. Valve and have him do the valves, or maybe I'll send it to Rob Stewart. Although I don't know, I think he's retired now. But maybe I can send it to Rob Stewart and have him fabricate some parts that look right. And that are perhaps in the different keys, right? Because if I could have one lead pipe for every 2 keys, right? So B flat, so the C and the B lead pipe would be great, and I can put this down to B flat, so I think that one's okay. So maybe 3 keys, but then I'd like another lead pipe that does A and A flat, and then I'd like an additional lead pipe that does G. Right, and right now using the curly Q and one of the long lead, it's kind of a lot, and so I'd rather, if I could, leave the curly Q alone actually, or just make it a little more stable, right? So anyway, maybe if I add two pigtails together, I might be able to do it. I don't think I have any more though, so I might have to go to my dad's house and steal some stuff. But anyway, all right. That's it for me right now. I actually have to go buy a car, so see you later.